All right, so our panelists, first thing I'm going to have you do, if you don't mind, is if you could just please tell us your name and what grade you're in. Do you want to start there? Go ahead.
I'm Aditi, and I'm in 8th grade.
My name is Prathamesh, and I'm in 7th grade.
I'm Ella, and I'm a sophomore.
Hi, my name is Emma Zellner, and I'm a sophomore here at MHS.
Hi, my name is Nura, and I'm a junior here at MHS.
My name's Amog, and I'm a sophomore.
All right, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the process. You were all on our student design team, so you've been a part of those meetings. You've enjoyed some pizza and brownies with us. You've given us your great ideas. It's been exciting. I have a couple questions this evening, and one of the reasons that we lift our student voice is because it gives us a perspective of today. The world they live in is very different than the world. I mean, most of us, when we were in your grade levels, it was the 1900s, and so it was a very different time, very different pressures. Some things are transferable, right? Relationships and all the things that you navigate in high school. School lunches, those kind of things. But there's so many other layers to their world today. So we just want to recognize that, but we also want to hear that come through in their perspective. So are you ready? Okay. Let's do this. We'll start at that end first, Amog, and we'll go this way. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay. So the first question that I'll ask our panelists, and if you need more time to think, you can say skip and go to the next person. That's totally fine. And take it in any direction. And Colin, I'll say if you see anything else you'd like to pull out of there, I know you're good at that, just feel free to jump right in. Our first question is, what was surprising or interesting about participating in this process as a student?
The discussions that we had, I did not think that it was going to be so thought out and so deep. And just the kids that were in there, including even 6th graders, 7th graders, 7th graders, 8th graders, they were really smart, and their views on the school was very insightful.
For me, probably the most exciting thing was that the school actually likes to take the input of students and families, obviously, so seriously, and it likes to take their ideas and implement them in the schools and include the rest of us in the design process. So it's just really nice to see that the school really cares about how we feel too.
I was shocked to see all the technological advancements that have been made in our society that will actually impact me when I graduate. I mean, we've all seen the food robots that go deliver to people's doors, all the self-driving cars. I mean, that to me was just a future so far away that I never thought that I would be in. So hearing from Colin and hearing all of those things about how I need to adapt to that world was just super eye-opening to me, and now I'm really thinking about what I need to do and what I need to change to be able to graduate and go into that workforce.
Something that was pretty surprising for me was that they took actual data. Showing up to this meeting, I was kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing or what this is. So seeing that they actually took data from us and then went home and did parents in the community and actually using that data to implement new things, it was surprising that they actually put in that much effort and took the responsibility to do the statistics and see what really helped and what we thought.
I was surprised that as a 7th grader in Mason Middle School, I had a say in the future of 2030 in Mason society.
So adding on to whatever everyone else said, I, as an 8th grader, felt like my voice was being heard and that I was actually seeing my input being implemented into the school, and I can't wait to see what changes come.
Thank you very much. Can we go ahead and we'll start this round? We'll go this direction. Okay. The next question that we have for you this evening is, how do you hope having the portrait of a learner will make a positive impact on future comments?
I would love to see the 7 competencies discussed arise more in school and be more, I guess, there, and the students being taught those competencies so that they can be more successful when they graduate.
I wish to see the portrait of a learner help our future comments learn easily, and I hope it will also prepare them for the future challenges ahead.
I hope that it's implemented throughout the whole Comet's career. I know starting younger, it's not really such a big thing, but as you get older, these ideals, I guess, have been implemented. So having these competencies and really focusing and honing in on them, I think will help improve the commons experience as a whole. Just even like teaching them like simple things like little empathy or confidence boosters, they will help like in the long run, I'm hoping.
I know the student design team has talked a little bit about making this into like a logo on a t-shirt, but I really want to see this as more than just a logo on a t-shirt or a painting on a wall. I want to see this as action that we're going to get from all 12 years that we're at Mason. I know Dr. Cooper was talking about this, maybe having something at the end of the year just where students, when they think about Portrait of a Graduate, they're not just thinking about words on a wall or something on a t-shirt. They're thinking about what's really going to change and impact them when they graduate and leave Mason.
So I really hope that all of this work and efforts will actually improve the school culture to be more inclusive, diversive, generally welcoming and accepting to everybody. So I'm really glad that like we could help and make that happen.
Definitely what Ella said. I think that if we start younger, the concepts are going to stick to the person, and it's not the same as starting it in high school, where where high schoolers just don't care. They're just trying to get through the day and just go home. But if we can start while they're in 7th grade or 6th grade, it's just, I feel like they are going to do something about it. It's like the big rocks or E plus R equals O. The earlier we start, the more it's gonna be present.
We appreciate that insight. I'm going to go off script just for a second, if that's okay, and just ask you a couple of live questions. And feel free, anyone can answer these. But we've gone through this process. You've given us your thoughts. You've heard about competencies. We've also talked about the future and big dreams. Can you think of, through this process, has there been anything that you've thought, boy, it would be great to see this happen in our school system? Anything come to mind?
I think that, again, speaking about the competencies, I think those being taught in school from like a really early age would really, really help Mason as a school and a community.
Yeah, I kind of want to go off of that. I know Mason is a pretty competitive school, like not so much what the teachers have put on, but the students just like within each other. So implementing these competencies like communication and like empathy and critical thinking will just improve like a general well-being of the students.
I think it would really help to implement these competencies, but like small activities, like one day in class, just do an empathy activity or like a confidence activity, like where you ask a question and you don't know the answer, just like improv or something. It's like these small. So
Well, I think it would be really interesting to see if some of the high school students maybe could take on a bit of a mentorship role for a lot of the younger students and really try to like show all these competencies and all these ideals that we're picking up in the high school so that like the younger the students are, like they can look up to the high schoolers and say, oh, that's the type of person I want to be someday.
I would love to hear an emphasis on emotional regulation, especially on students that are younger and haven't really had an experience to really understand what their emotions mean. I feel like a lot of the competencies that we've been talked about are more like outward skills that are hard skills, like problem solving or leadership, and there's not really a lot that goes on like deep in the mind about emotion regulation and kids really understanding what they're thinking.
I think that interaction is key. These competencies are not something you can just watch off YouTube and try to learn. I think if you have more flex time like we do in high school, like in Connect time, we can have maybe teachers regulate conversations, but let the students talk themselves out in kind of like a Socratic seminar kind of way, and share their views and their ideas clearly and clearly.
Well, you seem ready for me to push on you a little bit. We've given you a couple of just nice questions, but if I was to challenge you a little bit and say, you know, there may be, I don't think anybody may be in here, but maybe someone online is thinking, hey, competencies, these are soft skills. I mean, you know, these aren't things that we need to focus on. We need to focus on math or only social studies or only. Talk to me from your perspective. Are these important to you? Why are they, and how do they fit into? Because these other things are important. I mean, you need to have these other skills and these, maybe an AP course in this to get you set up for your future journey. But how does this fit into all that?
So I think going back to the idea of how like Mason is so competitive, I think we're amazing at our hard skills. Like we have an academic team, we have science Olympiad, we have medical program, like we have like a lot of different things. So I think like the next step in like improving Mason is probably improve a little more or like talk a little more about like those soft skills, because we talk a lot about hard skills, but we could probably like talk a little more about the soft skills and like improve like the discussion, like it's okay to make mistakes, or like being diverse and open-minded to different opinions instead of living in a world where like I'm right, you're wrong, and something that's just really divided.
I think we need a balance. Math, science, social studies, they're all stuff that are fundamental for a student, but I think these competencies are fundamental for being a human being.
To give a real life example, all of us up here have the hard skill of being able to public speak, as we're all up here sitting in front of you speaking, but if we didn't have the soft skill of confidence, we wouldn't be up here sitting in front of you. So having these soft skills is just as important as having the hard skills, because without confidence, we can't actually do these things that we want to do. And without other soft skills, we just have hard skills that can't really be activated to their full extent.
You can go ahead.
Okay. Going off of what Emma said earlier, like going out into the world, you can use all the hard skills, but having those soft skills are really transferable to anything that you want to go into. Someone like could go into the science field and someone could go in the social studies field and still use the competencies and the soft skills we're talking about, and it's more flexible and like ability to go to anyone in any job.
I feel like the hard skills we were talking about, kind of like math and social studies, they can help you graduate, but like there's always what's next. And what's next is skills like public speaking and leadership, because those are what's important. I mean, anyone can like figure out what the Pythagorean theorem is or like how to write an essay, but they have to be taught, and they have to be taught as a young age, all these competencies like leadership or communication to express themselves and to be more successful outside of school.
Going off on what you said, but like Pythagorean theorem and all that stuff, that can be teached on YouTube, like, you know, YouTube video and stuff. But like these competencies, they can't be taught easily. They're like, you have to like, learn them from the early age and like take it forward.
Okay, I want to unpack something even further. One of the things that you talked about, I think Emma, you might have mentioned this, is confidence. And then you also, I love how you worded that these are skills that activate other skills. I mean, they're the way that you bring other skills to life. Talk to us. I'd love to hear, and I'd love for the crowd to hear a little bit about what does confidence mean, and what are maybe suggestions you have for us about understanding what it means to build confidence in young people? Because you all seem very confident stepping up here, but what are the things maybe we might not understand that we should understand?
So, me personally, what I think, confidence isn't necessarily like, oh, I'm gonna like do this or do that, and I'm gonna like take this leadership position or become a board member in something. I think confidence is more like willing to take a risk or like jump a little bit outside of your comfort zone. And what was the other question you asked?
Well, that you're leading down that, but I'm trying to understand. I would like, because I've heard you talk about confidence, but just unpacking that. What does that mean for a student, and what are maybe ways that we could continue to encourage that?
Yeah, so like I was saying, like if there was more like students could take a lead in the school, like, I don't know, students could work with students, like our peer tutoring program, for example, or they could work with teachers or like a group like this to improve some issues in the school they might think of. Just getting out of the comfort zone, like I said before, I think that would probably be really helpful for confidence.
We broke down confidence at one of our past meetings, and basically what I took away from that was confidence. The main, I guess, way to get confidence is communication, communicating in classrooms and being comfortable to communicate. And so having more of that in school, and like having more of those opportunities, like you said, like tutoring, or like just being able to help one another, and knowing that, I guess, another person is there for you would like really help with confidence.
I'm gonna be brave and say that failure actually has a lot to do with confidence. You can put yourself out there, you can try new things, but if you don't actually have the ability to say, I did this wrong, I might have to try this again, are you really confident? And additionally, if you don't have your inner confidence, if people are telling you, you can do this, you're going to be able to do that, are you like actually going to be able to do that without believing in yourself? So I think that being able to get kids to understand that a lot of their confidence comes from within themselves and that they have that ability to fail, try up, do it again, and do even better would be an amazing way to instill confidence in the kids at Mason.
Pure confidence is completely understanding yourself and knowing yourself. I don't think, I'm not completely confident, I say, because I'm still trying to figure out who I am. And us students, we need a space to find out who we are. I think we do a good job saying that it's important to give everyone a voice and all that stuff, but it would be even better if teachers could say how you could give students more voice and how you accept others. Because it's pretty emphasized that you should do it, but no one really says how you should do it.
Another question that you just brought into my mind is we talked at our last meeting about know thyself is like the beginning of this process. And if the better that people know who they are, they know their own values, they understand where they're going, their direction, that know thyself concept or knowing yourself better. Can you think of any, if you're willing to share, moments along your journey here at Mason that have helped you to understand more about yourself? Whether it was an interaction with someone, an experience, an opportunity. Can you think of anything?
Last year in my English class, he gave us a prompt and it was "this I believe." So I just wrote, anybody wrote about anything they believed, and it kind of made me think for a second, like, what do I believe in? What is something that I want to share with this teacher? What is something that I want other people to know about me and like that I value? So open-ended things maybe, because I know that's a really specific example of like writing an essay in class, but open-ended things and the willingness, like Emma said, to fail, and like maybe I didn't get an A on like the perfect essay, but I shared something that I believed in and that was important to me.
Last year in my world history class, the teacher, we were sitting in rows, so it wasn't like we were in tables and we really got to communicate, but he had a daily warm-up where he would ask a question and we would all answer it. And they were like really simple questions like, what do you do in your free time? What did you do during the weekend? And getting to know the people around me, that class wouldn't have been as fun if I didn't know them. And one of like, I guess, the ways he helped us by teaching us and by, I'm trying to find a word, hold on. I guess teaching us how it is, how you communicate with others and how you can find similarities in others where like you guys are even like, I guess, close. Or so I walked into that classroom knowing nobody, and I walked out of the classroom at the end of the year almost having friends in that class with every single person. So I feel like the teachers play a big role in that, and yeah, that was one of my moments.
I've had lots of these little moments. One thing that I remember was 8th grade. We finished the book called Night by Eli Wiesel, and the teacher asked us how it made us feel. I was kind of speechless at that time. I'm still speechless, but it kind of made me think about like different experiences, because he was he went through lots of difficult stuff that I could never have imagined. Just maybe teachers talking directly to the student, making them more curious to learn. That plays a huge role.
So I'm in my second semester, sophomore year, so I'm thinking a lot about what I'm going to do after high school, and I'm feeling this societal pressure that I have to go to college. I have to get a 4-year degree, I have to graduate, I have to do something along that line, I have to get a good salary so I can support my family in the future. And then this year I got into my financial literacy class, which is a required class for all people at Mason before they graduate. And my teacher, our first unit, it was about careers, and I was just expecting to sitting there talking about, these are all the colleges you can attend, this is tuition, this is what you can expect, you're gonna be there for 4 years, you're gonna do great. And then she sat down and she said, you can get an apprenticeship, you could take a gap year, you can go into the workforce, you could get go to trade school, and I sat there, my mouth dropped open, because I did not think that anyone around me would support me doing something other than getting a bachelor's degree at a 4-year college. So I feel like that really changed me in my outlook on what my future is going to look like and the things that I can accomplish with something other than a 4-year degree at a college.
I think to jump off on you right now, I like that Mason provides so many opportunities for students to like take part in. Like say you're interested in something, but you're not quite sure, there's probably a club for it somewhere. Or let's say the Scarlet Oaks program. So I know they just did a tour at the Scarlet Oaks school, I think, recently, where it's like you don't have to necessarily go into like you said, like a 4-year college, 4-year like degree thing. You can instead go into a trade. Like that could be something that you enjoy, or just in general, just like discussing with other students, like this is my interests, what are your interests? I think it's pretty cool.
Before we let you off the stage, Colin or any of my team have anything that I did not ask that I should have? I'm just going to double check before I jump on to the next. Good? Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing honestly. Thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for having confidence to get up on stage in front of this big group. I just know how much I can feel in this room, the appreciation for your voice and your thoughts. I know those were all live questions. You didn't have any prep for that. You had a couple at the beginning just to get you, to convince you to be up on stage. But we appreciate you just taking those questions and answering them with just great insight, and we appreciate that. Let's give them a hand. Thanks so much.